you decided you were going to become a dating coach, and you work with couples, men and women. How did you get
Mhm.
to that point where you're like, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do? What was your driving force, beyond Hitch and how cool Will Smith was?
So, let me hit the reverse button a little bit. I'll go
Sure.
back to how I like basically became a coach in general. Um, I was at an all-time low point in my
Mm,
life, and my son had left for college. I felt virtually purposeless,
mm,
and I was on the track to become a therapist. However, in the meantime, a girlfriend of mine had recommended a coach, and I was like, a coach? What is a coach? I mean, couldn't I basically be a coach at this point? And she goes, well, I don't know. Maybe you should. You should talk to her. And so I did. And yep, I hired her immediately after the first conversation. I was thoroughly, thoroughly intrigued. I learned about things like law of attraction and law of vibration, and I was like, what is this stuff? And so once I started learning it and really started working with her, um, her name is Mary Hartman. I do have to plug her name in here because she's absolutely amazing. Um, but I started working with her, and I was going to keep going on the track of becoming a therapist. And she said, why don't you think about becoming a coach?
hmm
And I was like, well, what does that entail? And she said, well, you've already done, the hard part. You've got a psych degree. So I
Oh,
went
so
and got,
your degree is in psych.
I actually have a double major of both psychology and business. And then I went on
Good
and got
mix.
my, yeah, yeah, it worked out well. And I went on to get my coaching certification. So yeah, it's crazy how some of the toughest times in your life can bring about the most fruitful, amazing times in your life. Like, had I not gone through that whole kit and caboodle that brought me to my coach, literally on my knees, I think I, hit home sliding on that
Yeah.
one, on my knees, scraping them the whole way. And now here I am coaching. And when I was asked, they told you had to niche down, right? Niche down,
Yeah.
niche down.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Nick, I love love. I think that, you know, even in the Bible, it says, and the greatest of these is love. Like,
hmm
love is everywhere. If we can increase the love, like, we can decrease every freaking negative thing out there. So it's not just love in relationships, it starts with self love. So when I realized how important that is in a relationship, right? And with the demise of marriage these days and the utter, kind of hamster wheel of toxicity that we, almost like a revolving door of relationships, it seems these days, that seems to be the norm, multiple marriages, multiple, we'll just say fathers and mothers of children. Um, there's not a whole lot of commitment, like lasting true commitment, to where I guess I just finally figured out that the missing piece truly is love, and it starts here. So that's what
That's
brought me to being the love coach,
that's
because
so
I
well
had
said.
thank you, I had to learn how to love myself, and my whole existence changed because of it.
I bet. Do you mind me asking, what was it that had you in such a bad place? If you don't want to answer, you don't have to
Ooh,
answer. But
honey, I can answer, no problem. So we'll just say, I will be writing a book about this at some point, in one of my next little ventures. But um, we'll say that trauma hit my door right at the young age of 14,
hmm
and what I didn't realize at that young age of 14 was, because of that trauma, my decision making skills had been altered.
mm
And because of that trauma, I had bad decisions, and then
You
I
were,
gained another trauma, and then I had
oh,
more bad decisions from that one, and then another trauma. And my life had become one big trauma response, we'll just say, whether it was abusive relationships, addiction, alcohol, partying, whatever the escape
mm-hmm.
was. I was a master of it. And, it was just, I had no idea how to live life. And I had no idea that I was actually in control of it, that it was all in my control.
And
So once I learned that missing piece, that I could really take the reins on this, that I could heal my trauma brain, that I could have a beautiful, long lasting relationship, a healthy, happy relationship, that I could have amazing friends that actually give back, that I could have healed bonds within my family. I wanted to tell the whole world. I mean, it shouldn't be a secret. It shouldn't be a secret.
it
Funny
shouldn't.
thing is, it all started with this little book called The Secret, but
Oh, I
it
read The
shouldn't be a
Secret.
secret.
I read The
Yes.
Secret too. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That and what was the other one?
Four
Four
agreements.
Agreements. Yeah, yeah, the Four Agreements. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Hey, quit taking
The
things
f-
personally. I love
yeah.
that one. Don't
That one
take
is
it
the
personally.
one that really kind of like kicked me on my way, was
Mhm.
reading that and being like, "Oh my god, like I break every freaking agreement that I should have with myself." And it's
Right?
yeah, and I also, and you said it way better than I've ever thought about it, but I think of the way I used to live my life, which was very um always avoidant, right? Always
Mhm.
avoidant, but very much so kind of like getting angry about stuff, like kind of being fueled
Mm.
by anger, which then also leads to being reactive instead of responsive, right?
Ooh,
And
very
so
good.
it kind of was like, and why are these things happening is what I started asking myself. And I started therapy around that time too. And it was very much like, oh, because I'm not allowing myself the opportunity to sort of have these agreements or whatever you want to call them. Like, I don't have any boundaries. I let people invade my space all the time and in all sorts of different ways. And I don't have, I was very frustrated with my career at the time. And it was like, oh, I actually have control over this, things like that. And mostly a lot of it too was just putting myself in these situations and relationships, like you said,
Mhm.
both, platonic and
Yes.
relationships, and they were just
Yes.
they were just like these toxic patterns. And it would be people
Mhm.
that would be, man, I just remember like this all just started clicking for me around this time where I was like, oh, these people, I get frustrated when I go out with them because ABC always happens, or I get frustrated if
Mhm.
I spend too much time with my family. So it's kind of like, it's funny because all of these things, when you really start to sort of check inside, you can easily identify a lot of the things that are causing you harm or causing you to be
Yes.
a way that you don't really want to be.
Oh, yes, Nick. And you said that huge key word. Ooh, boundaries.